Welcome back, Patriots, to another episode of the Bald Brad Show. It is officially Wednesday, July 10th, and Joe Biden, good old Joey, the geriatric, the puppet, the child sniffer. This is my favorite part of the introduction. The guy that hits a golf ball backwards, but denies that he's going to take an 18-hole against Donald Trump. We'll get into that in today's episode. Falls up a flight of stairs, looks for dead people in the crowd, which she was questioned on once again yesterday in the White House press briefing. This guy falls off his bicycle standing stationary, trips over at a graduation ceremony, and ultimately gets lost at just random events. He will just wander off. I mean, the most notable one was, yes, the most recent one, when he was overseas looking at the paratroopers just wandering off away from everybody else, all the other world leaders. But there's also pretty credible ones of him just wandering around the White House, not knowing how to get to his Oval Office. And the other one was him at some sort of restaurant, just wandering off, and then they found him. That one was on video as well. That one's a little bit older, but this guy, folks, doesn't know what's going on. He's conversing with dead people. He's tapping into the spiritual realm. He's that far gone. Allegedly has Parkinson's disease, and not just dementia, but again, like I said, Parkinson's as well, folks. This guy is falling apart in front of our eyes, which is a remarkable thing to witness. He is by far not even close, which is a remarkable thing because we had Barack Obama as president. Joe Biden is not even close. He's the worst president in American history, and Democrats are going to vote for him again, folks. Patriots. It's great being back with you on this fine Wednesday morning. And all we could do is laugh about it because it's a remarkable thing to witness that this dude was deteriorating back in 2018. And we all said it then. And now it's just becoming exponential. And Democrats are like, yep, you know what? Let's get behind this guy. Yeah, no, this is a good thing. We talked to the guy on a phone call. Like that was it. Now, what you're seeing a lot from the Republican side of the media is, oh, Democrats are falling apart behind closed doors, this or that. And that is true. But what you are slowly seeing, and we've reiterated this a bunch of times, is that the narrative is ever slowly changing. And what you're seeing is this Democrat this day is coming out and saying, yeah, I'm going to get behind jokes. When you fall down, what do, folks? You get back up, according to Joe. So you're slowly seeing these big Dems. I'm for Joey. I talked to him. I looked him in his black eyes. He's okay. It was just a bad night. And now you're slowly seeing it change. It has to happen slowly, you guys. Why? Because over 3.5 years, they took the time to sit there and gaslight everybody, the entire world. And then in the course of 90 minutes or less, with a debate against Donald Trump, just whoop-bam, they all just shifted, going, oh, this guy's gone. He's done. Oh, my God, how do they do this? Oh, God, he's bad. Oh, boy, Joey. You're not there, buddy. Oh, God. Oh, who's going to know that we lied to them? Everybody. So let's just, and then slowly now they got to start going back. They got to take their time with it, folks. It's all calculated. It's all calculated. Well, that's going to be a little bit of a theme episode today, or theme of the show. We got a lot of video clips, a lot of news articles. We're going to be looking at a lot of speeches yesterday. We had yesterday's White House press briefing where we all waited together as a community of patriots for an hour and 45 minutes for Karine. Now, we had about 4 minutes before one of my contacts told us, hey, it's going to happen. She's going to show up. And then after the debate, the other contact did, in fact, message me. He just said, really, really late. Absolutely correct, sir. So a lot of stuff. We'll get into a little bit of illegal immigration. There was a bombshell exposure that happened yesterday with GARM on basically an ad coalition of trying to suppress conservative outlets, which kind of gives us a little bit of credibility here on what we think YouTube is doing. Mind you, Rumble is suing YouTube right now for exactly what we say they're doing. So a lot of stuff here, folks. Let's give a shout out to some people in the live chat. We got Pat over at Rumble. We got Golden Girl. Golden Girl, I did see your tweet. Your book did come in, and I hope you enjoy it. Big Weave, longtime supporter of the Bald Brad Show. Good to see you, sir. We got Karen. We got Mizzy. We got Sunset over at Rumble. And we got Willie as well. We got a lot of people over at Rumble. We're growing over there. We got Danielle, Dana, Paul, Who else we got over here? I got to scroll up. Miriam, Michelle. We got a lot of people. Brandy, Kraken. A lot of people join us today for our Wednesday episode. Couldn't be more stoked than to jump into it right now, where we have this meeting with the NATOs, right? All the allies and stuff like that. But you also had Kamala Harris come out of the woodworks, doing her word salads and whatnot. Well, she was demonstrating basically zero self-awareness, per usual, and falsely claims that President Trump would weaponize the DOJ against his political rivals and terminate the Constitution. You guys, this is how outlandish these people are and how they sit there and they just take the most extreme thing and attach it to the Republican Party. Here we go.
That he will weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Round up peaceful protesters and throw them out of our country. And even, quote, terminate the United States Constitution.
You guys, there's this professor, he's a black dude, huge fro that's all gray, that actually said, I think he was on The View or some news outlet, this was like years ago, said that he would want to throw the Democrat Party would want to throw the Constitution into the trash. It's the Democrat Party is the ones that want to change the Constitution. They don't like it. I mean, that's why they want to go after your First Amendment rights, your Second Amendment rights. I mean, these are the people that don't want to follow how the government was created, and that's why they want to federalize abortion rather than moving it back to the states of how things were created. I mean, it's a remarkable thing that Donald Trump wants to sit there and remove protesters from the country. It's the same thing where I think it was Joe Scarborough come out and said during his show Morning Joe that Donald Trump, if reelected, is going to start executing people in the streets. This is how wild this party is. This is how off their rocker and outlandish they are. But we shouldn't be surprised. Again, they're the party of the Klan. They're the party of slavery. They're the party of violence. I mean, look what they did under Donald Trump's rule. They sat there and burned down our cities. Billions of dollars. Nobody really arrested. Nobody sued. Nothing like that. Pretty remarkable thing, right? But January 6th happens. You got a few people that were a bunch of psychos that stormed the Capitol, broke inside of it, and decided to get VIP tours from the Capitol Police. Those people all get arrested, thrown in prison. Really weird thing how that all works out, right? All these smash and grabs you see taking place in Democrat-ran cities, 200 people looting a Starbucks or whatever. Nothing happens to them. No, not whatsoever, because they all vote Democrat. They all vote Democrat. So there she is. And these are the same party that calls us extremists, you guys. Calls us extremists. But Donald Trump's going to weaponize the DOJ. What I have found is that if you just take whatever the Biden administration says or the Democrat Party just in general, and whatever they're attributing to Donald Trump is just exactly what they do. Joe Biden, quite literally, just utilized the DOJ to go after his political opponent. We all watched it. I mean, Donald Trump's polls went up. The dude doesn't pay a parking ticket on time. Grand jury. So whatever they talk about in terms of Donald Trump is exactly what they are doing. So you also had her lying again in the same speech, practically just a few paragraphs later, that President Trump would sign a national abortion ban. Folks, he has repeatedly made it clear that he's not going to do that. And I'm pro-life, by the way, but he has made it clear he's not going to do that.
So make no mistake, if Trump gets the chance, he will sign a national abortion ban to outlaw abortion in every single state. So make no mistake.
She's an idiot. She is an idiot. At least she's not being as much of a word salad as we usually expect her to be. But again, there you are with the lies. And I mean, we can only be so clear here. Look, would I love for Trump to do a federal ban for it? Absolutely. I'm not like crying over it. I mean, there's a lot of other issues going on around the world as well as the United States that we got to figure out. Massive illegal immigration. There's voter fraud that's going to happen. So we got to figure out our election integrity. How about we figure out our freaking $35 trillion deficit? There's a lot of things going on here that we got to fix. But, the Democrat Party ain't going to do it, folks. So you had Biden doing his NATO meeting yesterday with the members, right? This whole thing, it's a whole hubbub. Well, Biden was reading, as he always does, directly from a teleprompter and admits President Trump was successful in forcing NATO members to meet their spending obligations. President Trump was right again.
In the year 2020, the year I was elected president, only 9 NATO allies were spending 2% of their defense GDP on defense. This year, 23 will spend at least 2%. In the year 2020.
Well, They're not paying their fair share, folks. We're going to get the NATO members to start forking over billions. And, there it is. There it is. It's a funny thing because there's this idea, and I understand in American culture, just culture in general, with technology, we always want this instant gratification. We want to see things happen exactly like that. Something you'll hear me talk about in my book is that through history, it takes time for things to evolve. It takes time for things to change. It takes time for society to get behind a certain program or initiative or whatever it is that we always are dealing with time. And one of those things with time is what you're seeing here where, you can't just ask a country tomorrow, hey, we need you to put 2% down for NATO. They have to sit there and work with their budget. They're going to have to slowly change even their own culture and get the okay from their own people. All these things have to take place. We can't just expect things to change in a year, 2 years. It does take time. This is a Trump initiative that just took time to unravel so that countries can move towards that 2%. By the way, John Kirby echoed that same exact thing during the White House press briefing this week, or is at the end of last week, where he was saying we haven't had all members get there, but they're working towards it. So not all NATO members are at the 2%. It's a remarkable messaging how he's trying to take credit for a lot of things Trump did, like Operation Warp Speed, for example, with the COVID-19. We got America out of the pandemic. Well, yeah, because of all the Trump initiatives that was taking place, his plan that he put forth, and the things that he was going to do, you knew that worked, and you're going to take credit for everything, which is a remarkable thing that he's taking credit for the economy, which, by the way, we showed the graph the other day. I guess I should go this way. Has a positive trend. Hell, since like the 1920s has gone up. Doesn't mean there's no dips, but there's always going to be a trend in the economy. It's going to go up regardless because you have more people, more manufacturing, more labor. You have more technology that's going to increase production. So you would expect it to go up, which is why that's going to be one of your greatest investments. He was also slurring again. Joe was also slurring again. So even before Russia bombs, yes, he said bombs with a V, were following Ukraine, the alliance has acted. So here he is, man. He's supposed to be showing the strength, guys. This is the one that's leading. And doesn't he, okay, can I spot something here? Doesn't he look a little bit different? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying Joey does look a little bit different here. Does he not? That does not look like Joe Biden. I mean, it looks like Joe, but his face looks tighter. Does anybody else see this? Like, I'm waiting for a live check because I gotta get the Patriots' opinions here. I noticed this yesterday during the speech. I was like, dude, his face looks tight. Like, dude, he looks younger, like 10 years younger. Let me know if you guys are with me on this one. It looks weird. Am I not right? Is this some dude in a mask? Well, he's still slurring his words. Here we go.
Even before Russian bombs were falling in Ukraine, the alliance acted. I ordered the U.S. reinforcements at NATO's eastern flank. Even before Russia bombs.
I don't know, man. His hair does look weird. It's always looked weird. He has plugs. I think he had transplants. He doesn't want to go bald like Bald Brad. No. This one's really short. Here's him. He can't say the word Ukraine from a teleprompter, you guys. I don't use a teleprompter here. Mind you, I don't have dementia or Parkinson's, thank God. But I have a teleprompter. You guys didn't like me reading from it, so that's why we did away with it. But we don't have one now. Not that hard to say Ukraine. I understand messing up every now and then, but God, I would love a teleprompter. Can you imagine me having my whole show written out for me? Like, there's no brain power involved in that. My whole show written out. I've done it before. I've written my show out before. Dude, it's no brain power. You just have to read from a teleprompter. You don't have to think about your opinions. It's already there. You've already laid it out. You just read from it. It's a remarkable thing that people get paid millions of dollars to read from a teleprompter.
Destroy Ukraine's culture. Destroy Ukraine's culture.
Folks, this is the guy that's representing us on the national stage and the world stage. In front of everybody. You guys let me know what he says here, because I don't have a clue on this next one. So here's a little word salad word game. What is Joe saying?
For 5 additional strategic air defense systems. For 5 additional strategic air defense systems. For 5 additional strategic air defense systems.
5 additional strategic air defense systems? Is that what he's saying?
For 5 additional strategic air defense systems.
Boy. We're gonna... 2 years ago, he was questioned, I believe it was on 60 Minutes, right? About his head. Okay. About that, you're fumbling, man. You have all these gaffes, yada, yada, yada. It's disrespectful. Ask these questions, all these things. And he goes, watch me. Like he was Batman, right? He leaned in, watch me. And then he met with George Stephanopoulos last Thursday, right? We all watched it together. It was actually a big stream. And he did the same thing. He leaned in, and we even said the word Batman. I remember even Pat said, I'm Batman, in the live chat. And he goes, watch me. like you're Christian Bale, dude, in The Dark Knight. Where's Rachel? Where's the narcotics? I don't know, man. Maybe Hunter has them. So we're watching you, Joe. And as we watch you, it's hard to watch, dude. I'll be honest, Joe. It's hard to watch you poop your pants, fumble through your words every single day, and create all this content for us. And so he says, when we export critical air defense interceptors, Ukraine goes to the front of the line. So we're putting Ukraine in front of us. That's awesome. Nice thing to say in front of everybody, Joe.
The United States will make sure that when we export critical air defense interceptors, Ukraine goes to the front of the line. The United States.
Perfect. No, yeah, screw us. Screw our defense, screw everything else. And this is the clip that I really wanted to get to here. This dude cannot do anything without a teleprompter. He, to the point where he actually can't look away as he's shaking somebody's hand. This was just ridiculous. Here we go.
He's a man of integrity.
Watch this.
And intellectual rigor, a calm temperament in a moment of crisis.
You see,
Consummate.
he even mumbled his way. I'm gonna play it again. The moment he looks away from the teleprompter, the first word out of his mouth, he mumbles it. I'll play it again. Check this out. I watch his eyes. The moment he moves away from the teleprompter, mumbles.
Intellectual rigor, a calm temperament in a moment of crisis. Consummate.
Dude, that's insane. That is insane. But he's okay, you guys. No, he's fit. He's fit to hold office. He has no idea where the F he's at. He doesn't know where he's at, like at all. So they're starting to put walls up for Joe, I guess, just in case if he falls, they don't get it on, the world stage of the president falling, the geriatric, doesn't know where the hell he's at, fumbling through his words, can't read from a teleprompter, which is already laid out for him. 50 years, you guys. He's the most fit. He's the sharpest. You heard it from jean-pierre herself last week. From Philip Wegman, we covered it. He asked the question, do you think he's still sharp? She goes, he's sharper than ever. Like as if we don't have hours of videotape of this guy. So the real question is, and it came from CNN, can world leaders trust Biden when they see him in this major political crisis and when they have concerns about his fitness? So yeah, the State Department spokesman, Matt Miller, coming up and said he will continue to support Ukraine. I'm right there with you guys. It's like jean-pierre, but just a male form of him, or her.
We heard President Biden just a little while ago, Matt, say that NATO is stronger than ever right now and Ukraine will prevail. But can world leaders trust President Biden in the long term when they see him in this major political crisis right now here in the United States, and they potentially could have concerns, at least in private, about his fitness to serve another term?
So look, we, of course, European leaders and other leaders around the world pay attention to our elections, just as we pay attention to other countries' elections. That's a natural thing to do. What we can do is tell leaders around the world is that the commitment from the United States that we have made is one we continue to stand by. As long as President Biden is in office, he will continue to support Ukraine. We have made clear from the beginning that we have had Ukraine's back. But I also think it's important to note that there are clear, overwhelming majorities in both houses of Congress that support Ukraine. And if you look at poll after poll, there is overwhelming support for Ukraine from the American public.
Look, it's not a winning war. You're not going to win it, okay? You're not going to have Ukraine beat Russia. It's just not in the cards. And somehow they just keep selling us on this lie. There's something else going on here that I'm not aware of. I don't think a lot of the American public's aware of, because if there's a lot of Republicans that are getting behind this, maybe it's to feed the war machine. no clue why we're just continuing doing this. By the way, there's a lot of footage coming out of like Ukrainians partying, going to bars, like living up life. I've heard some of this money that we're sending them isn't even going to military. It's going towards like their education. It's going towards like businesses. We've even covered the fact, this was just yesterday actually, that Ukrainian refugees are receiving Social Security benefits from us. So we're paying illegal immigrants Social Security benefits now, or they're tapping into our Social Security benefits, and so is refugees. So that's a lovely thing. All the while, Democrats are going, well, at least you're getting 70% of your Social Security when you retire. What about the other 30% that you stole? I mean, is it theft? Is it not? Somebody correct me. It's theft. If I gave you $100 and you gave me back 70, I'm going to ask you, where's the other 30? It's unbelievable. So there was this other question about the Biden administration being fully transparent about the toll that the president's age is apparently taking. And all he said was, of course. Dude, these people are idiots, man. And they're making so much money.
As you know, the Wall Street Journal is now reporting that back in June of 2022, Secretary of State Blinken went to a meeting with the German chancellor instead of President Biden, saying the president had to go to bed. You denied that, but can you say the Biden administration has been fully transparent about the toll the president's age is apparently taking?
Of course we have been, and I can tell you with respect to that report, it was absolutely not true.
As you know, the Wall Street Journal...
It was true. Stop it. It was true. But don't worry, you guys. They're going to be transparent. I'm just reading your guys' chat. Like, am I the only one that's lost here? A lot of you are still pissed about the Ukraine stuff. Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you. Billions of dollars going to Ukraine, not to our border, but to everybody else's border. Israel, whether you agree with it or not. Ukraine, whether you agree with it or not. You know, we're just sitting there giving everybody else defense. I mean, the fact that there's troops in other countries, like all of Europe, South Korea, I mean, that is free. That is free defense for them. But don't worry, guys. They can only shell out 2% of their GDP. So you had John Kirby, who's basically the co-press secretary, said Biden is in command of the facts and asks good questions. Sure he does. We don't ever see it. We don't ever see the facts, and we don't ever see him asking good questions.
Well, you know that there's such a disconnect between what you're saying there, what was seen on the debate stage, and other things, even in performance since in interviews that have raised questions. And you saw how Karine Jean-Pierre, you were standing next to her, said, you know, this is a conservative manipulation of cheap fakes and videos that are being played. Now, in retrospect, what does that look like?
Well, let's go back to the debate. I mean, the president himself talked about how he could have done a better job, and he knows that. So he's not defending his performance at the debate, Brett. All I can do is tell you the guy I've known now for 2.5 years, and I didn't know the president before I came to work at the White House. Never really met him. And the man that I see every day, including today, is in command of the facts and the context. He asks good questions. He's tough on us and the staff in the room.
No fucking way.
And, you know, he's really looking forward to this week.
Well, you know there's such a...
Do you notice? You'll see this from Karine Jean-Pierre to John Kirby to Anthony Blinken. It doesn't matter. Jake Sullivan, it doesn't matter who it is. The Democrats, whenever they get on the media, they always start at the debate. Oh, well, let's just go back a little bit. Okay, let's fucking go all the way back. Let's go back to 2018 when we start seeing this guy fumble through his words. Let's go back then. Let's go back to him not even able to find his own Oval Office, of which he was vice president for. He's been in there plenty of times. Hell, even when he was a senator, he's been to the Oval Office. The dude didn't know how to get there. Let's talk about him wandering off everywhere, John. Let's talk about him falling upstairs. So now you have him taking the short staircase to get on Air Force One. I didn't even know there was a short staircase access for the president on Air Force One. Nobody did. So this whole idea, I'm not even sure if he's allowed to drive anymore, John. You guys won't even allow, they won't even allow people to prosecute this guy because he's not even fit to stand in a box, in a defendant's box. But they're always going to start at a certain moment in time that works best for their narrative. I'll give you another example that attaches to this idea of a moment in time. They do the same exact thing with gas prices. They use the moment in time that Putin invaded Ukraine, and that's why they call it the Putin's price hike. But if you look at the graph, as we've shown many, many of times, that price hike was already increasing when Joe Biden took office because of his dumbass policies and his dumbass agenda of trying to remove the fossil fuel industry. So it's such a manipulation. And again, the whole theme is Democrats are rallying behind, they're uniting behind Joe, and the media's narrative shift is slowly changing. And it's slowly changing, utilizing the narrative from the Democrat Party, specifically the White House, that the debate was a bad night. It was just a bad night. And you're going to see that. And that's what they're going to carry on with. And I guarantee you the next debate, Joe Biden's going to do mediocre. I'm not saying he's even going to kill it. I think he's just going to be there. And he's going to beat Donald Trump. And they're all going to rally behind him in September. You will see if he doesn't drop out. That is going to happen. So Brett goes on with John Kirby and says there's a real concern that Biden isn't up to handle something, and that may come up outside of the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. And this was kind of echoed by Peter Doocy in yesterday's White House press briefing. But here's John Kirby's answer, and then we'll get to Peter Doocy a little bit later.
You know, a couple of elections ago, there was the 3 a.m. call. Now there's real concern about can he handle something, that doesn't happen between 10 and 4 p.m.
He gets calls in the middle of the night all the time. And a couple of G7s ago, Brett, you might remember, there was a missile that fell in Poland. There was a concern that it could have been a Russian missile. That call came in to him in the middle of the night. He called together the G7 in a snap meeting by 8 o'clock that morning.
You know, a couple of elections ago, there was the 3
We woke him up at 9. 12 hours later, he had a meeting at 8 a.m. Oh, wow. Oh, God, this is the dude running the country. The remarkable thing is this dude came out, John Kirby. Oh, we got more clips. We got a lot of clips today, you guys. I hope you're double buckled, man, because we're not even to the articles yet. We're just to the clips of yesterday's damage control of Joe Biden. He said that he can't name a single actual thing Biden has done to make the world safer, as Biden's disastrous foreign policy brings us on the brink of another freaking world war. Here we go.
How is the world safer with President Biden?
Because he prioritizes alliances and partnerships. That is a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. This week will show that. Unlike others, he doesn't demean them. He doesn't insult them. He doesn't cast them aside. He is investing in alliances and partnerships.
How is the world safer with President?
He can't name anything, you guys. He can't name a single thing of how the world is safer. You want to know why? Because it's not. You can't look at the teleprompter, the camera, the person sitting in front of you, that the world is safer. You have the Houthis sinking merchant vessels to the bottom of the ocean. You got Iran funding terrorism like no other, like we've never seen before. You have Russia invading Ukraine. You got terrorists going into Israel and massacring 1,200 plus people. How is it any safer? You have terrorists in the United States right now plotting to do something terrible. Democrats are going to vote for this guy again, folks. Okay? I know. Here's the thing that always gets me. Democrats go, we can't do another 4 years of Donald Trump. It was just so bad. He's going to sit there and start executing. He's going to remove everybody from government. It's going to be so bad. You've seen Donald Trump in office. You've seen what he does. It's one of the rare times you get to see a prior president that was booted out of office over a shifty election versus a guy that's in office now. And you can actually compare them. And they're still going to take Joe and totally revise history of what happened under Donald Trump to sit there and fix and rationale themselves through this whole thought process to vote for Joey again. It's a crazy psychological thing we're watching here, that Democrats are trying to reason their way around this so that they feel comfortable that the decision that they're making to vote in Joey is a good one. It's not, Dems. It's not. You need to vote for Trump. Okay? The world's not safer. You're not safer. Your Democrats, your family isn't safer. Okay? You're losing money. Your security on the global front is gone. Okay, domestically it's gone. They're taking your money and they're giving it to other people that aren't even American citizens. So if there's a Democrat that's in here, thank you for being here. But can you put your head on straight, please? Please. Thank you. I think that was a calm and rationale, right? We didn't blow our lid on them, right? We were calm. You know, like we're giving some sort of psychiatric help. You know what I mean? I felt like that was calming, right? Did anybody fall asleep through that? Like it's ASMR. Breathe in. Orange man, good. Geriatric man that sniffs children is bad. Breathe in. Vote for Trump. Huzzah. Huzzah. We might have got a couple votes there, guys. We might have got a couple. So he said here that a couple of years ago, Biden got a call in the middle of the night and he returned at 8 a.m. Oh, we watched that one. So Trump had his Florida speech, and I want to see if I can find the clip for you. He did a rally in Florida. By the way, Barron Trump got a standing ovation the other day. I mean yesterday. I want to find the one where Donald Trump challenged Joe Biden to a golf match. And I want to see if I can find... Here we go. It's right here. Knew I had it set up for you guys. Let's roll it.
Offering Joe the chance to redeem himself in front of the entire world. So Marco and Byron and everybody, here's what we're going to do. You guys can be referees if you like. Let's do another debate this week so that Sleepy Joe Biden can prove to everyone all over the world that he has what it takes to be president. But this time it will be man-to-man, no moderators, no holes barred. Just name the place, anytime, anywhere. And in the debate, Sleepy Joe also declared that he wanted to test his skills and stamina against mine on the golf course. Can you believe this? Did you ever see him swing? He's like this. That's why this evening I am also, and this is in honor of you and everybody here, is 45,000 people. That's a lot of people. I'm also officially challenging Crooked Joe to an 18-hole golf match right here. On Doral Blue Monster, considered one of the greatest tournament golf courses anywhere in the world, one of the great courses of the world. It will be among the most watched sporting events in history, maybe bigger than the Ryder Cup or even the Masters. And I will even give Joe Biden 10 strokes aside. 10 strokes, that's a lot. That means 20 strokes in case you don't play golf. I will give him 10 strokes aside, and if he wins, I will give the charity of his choice, any charity that he wants, $1 million.
By the way, if you recall in the debate, it was Joe Biden that challenged Donald Trump to golf. And so Trump's just saying, all right, let's do it. And, $1 million to whoever you want. He declined it. Yesterday, he, in fact, did decline that. He's not going to do it. We all knew he wasn't going to do it because he doesn't have the stamina to walk 9 holes. He's going to have to hit from the women's tees. And that, hey, that's kind of a slap to women. I get it. But, that's Joe for you. He can't hit from the men's tees. No way in hell. So that happened yesterday. There was a lot of stuff. Donald Trump's rallies. I don't want to go through the entire rally just because he talks about all sorts of things, and we'll be here for another 2 hours. But it was a solid rally. He did bring up Marco Rubio. I see some of you right in the chat. I hope that he doesn't pick Marco as a VP. I don't know who he's going to pick. It came out yesterday or the day before that Trump is unsure still of who his VP is, which is weird because he did say that he already had the VP pick made up in his mind like 2 weeks ago. So he said that he's most likely going to announce it at the RNC, which I believe is next week. So another week, I guess. I believe the RNC is the 17th, right? The 16th through the 18th or something like that. So allegedly that's when he's going to make the announcement. And we will be here for it, folks. We got a lot of live streams happening. Also, remember Joe Biden's, I almost said interview, Joe Biden's big press briefing, they're calling it the big boy thing, is tomorrow. We will be live for that as well, on top of our usual morning show. I want to show you some screen grabs, though, of the president's rally, because he's having to do them outside, okay? I bring that up because Joe Biden, during his interview with George Stephanopoulos, brought up Donald Trump's his rallies and his gatherings. And George Stephanopoulos said, you don't want to go there. So he's having to do them predominantly outside because there's just not enough room. So, I mean, look at these crowds, you guys. That little right-hand section, that's where basically his hat is touching, that's basically all that Joe can get. You can't even see past how many people are there. But they're going to say that they get more people than Donald Trump. Sure. By the way, he was getting the same amount of people in 2020. I've always said this to people. It's a remarkable thing that people can look at what they see out there and go, yeah, Joe Biden's the most popular president in American history. Why doesn't he have any of this then? If you're popular, people are wanting to go out and see you. It's like probably 100 and something degrees in Florida, plus humidity. And they're standing out there wanting to listen to this guy. Why doesn't Joe get that? Joe's popular. Joe's allegedly more popular than this guy is. So why is there no boat parades for Joe? Why is there not like miles-long caravans parading down the highway for Joe Biden? Why isn't Joe Biden having full-on rallies every week, or at least a couple times a month, like Donald Trump is doing? I call bullshit, man. I do. And that's my honest take. I could sit there and look. Now, could there be some sort of silent majority out there? Absolutely. I find it really hard to believe. Look how good this guy looks. He's lost some weight. He's ready to go, man. He's ready for that second term, boys and girls. Gotta love Mr. 45. Hopefully 47. And you're damn right. I will be showing up right after work there in November to vote for good old Joey. So this video dropped yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw this. We were referring to George Stephanopoulos for a reason. Not just to give us credibility on what we were saying and to kind of go back on prior information, but there was a video yesterday from TMZ that showed a man that looked somewhat like George Stephanopoulos saying that he doesn't think President Joe Biden can serve another 4 years. Here we go.
Hey, excuse me. Hey, how you doing? What do you think? Do you think Biden should step down? You talked to him more than anybody else have lately, and you could be honest. Serve 4 more years. You don't think he can serve 4 more years? All right, that's an answer.
Now, people are looking at this because you couldn't really see him, right? I mean, how do we know that's actually George Stephanopoulos? And then he walks away. Well, here's the thing. George said it was him. You know what I mean? George Stephanopoulos comes out and goes, yeah, that was me. So there you have it. I mean, there's no question that now we know that it was George Stephanopoulos when he himself has come out and said as much. There's also this weird thing that was going viral yesterday, and I couldn't figure it out, and it was all circulating around this image. And you have President Biden posting this. Jackie Heinrich got in the mix. All these other reporters got in the mix. Everybody's analyzing the background. So President Biden said, I spoke with President of Poland to express my deep condolences for the loss of life in eastern Poland and offered our full support for Poland's investigation of the explosion. We will remain in close touch to determine appropriate next steps as proceeds. Well, it's weird because the timing that came out from all of this, people are saying that this wasn't in the AM range of when he had to wake up to make this assessment, like we've heard from John Kirby and other people. And then Jackie Heinrich comes out and she says, well, this is from a whole different thing. She said, this is from Indonesia. So here's her assessment on this. She goes, this was actually at G20 in Indonesia in November of 2022. Biden called together a snap meeting of the G7 leaders by morning, but he was on the phone in the middle of the night right after it happened with Polish president. The White House released this photo at the time, but it's light out. So nobody knows what's going on. I didn't really understand the whole hubbub over all of it. I mean, are they trying to make the claim that the president is awake at odd hours right now, communicating with G7 leaders, and that's why this image is so important? If it is, I mean, the sun is rising, and so you're looking at just the morning time, or you're looking at the evening time when the sun's going down. It can only be one or the other. It's bright out. So make what you will of it. I just wanted to bring you up to date on kind of what everybody was talking about yesterday and why they were making such a big deal over it. I truthfully didn't think it was that big of a deal. And again, you have Democrats that are rallying behind this guy. No matter how many lies he tells, no matter how far he drives this country into the ground, he's sitting there with a bunch of bogus stuff, and you're going to have a bunch of psycho coming out saying, hey, you know what? Amidst of all his problems, all his flaws, we still get behind this guy. So here's Maxine Waters, the low IQ, saying we have to be a little bit cautious about coming to conclusions about Joe Biden's cognitive health. Okay.
I think we have to be a little bit cautious about coming to conclusions right now. I think that when we talk about Biden and, is he too old? Is he competent? What have you? We better compare him with Trump. I think we have to.
Oh, we're not done yet. We're not done. Like I said, the theme of today is how the media narrative is slowly shifting. You're seeing it. They're starting to promulgate this whole idea from Chuck Schumer, AOC, Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, which we'll see in one moment. Kamala Harris is just a bad night. We don't need to worry about it. We need to worry about Donald Trump. We should actually be worried about Donald Trump's cognitive health. Joe just had a bad night. Look at his record the last 50 years. It's going to take time to shift the narrative and bring it back into the slot it was prior to the debate. And it's going to be there. It's going to happen. I really do believe that. I think the Democrats are going to rally behind Joe because he's not leaving. Why? Because when you get knocked down, you get back up, according to him. So here's Nancy Pelosi, not even willing to acknowledge the fact if she wants to see him run again. She just says, I want him to do whatever he decides to do. And by the way, really looks off on this interview. Here we go.
He has said he has made the decision. He has said firmly this week he is going to run. Do you want him to run?
I want him to do whatever he decides to do. And that's the way it is. Whatever he decides, we go with.
He has said he has made.
Whatever he decides to do is what we go with. There you go. And this is a lady that's been in politics her entire life, has sucked at the government teat. She still won't go away. She's like Hillary Clinton. She just won't go away. Lady, you're retired for a reason. Go away. Your husband got assaulted by some dude breaking into his house and hitting him with a hammer. Go protect him. Be there with him. Ride off in the sunset. You know what I mean? Allow your face to drop a little bit. I don't know what it is. Allow the Botox to run out or whatever the hell is going on with that and just let it figure itself out. So she's going to say, we're going to get behind Joe, whatever he wants to do. Well, he said what he wants to do. He said he wants to get back up. He wants to prove to the American public that he's fit to hold office. He wants to sit there and not mumble as much, Nancy. So there you have it, folks. That's an admission of one of the leaders of the Democrat Party, even though she's retired, saying as much that they're going to rally behind Joe. It will happen, folks. Oh, it will. So one of the big things, again, shifting to yesterday's White House press briefing, was this whole idea of, I want to see if I have it queued up correctly. This whole idea, I do. This whole idea of Parkinson's. So during yesterday's White House press briefing, we waited for an hour 45 minutes. It's a new record for her to show up to her own briefing, of which she created the time slot for. Okay. She is always late. The press briefing prior to that, she was 35 minutes. I mean, you guys were here with me, 35 minutes late. Thank God we had enough content. Here she is, denying the January meeting between Biden's physician and a renowned Parkinson's expert was related to Biden's care. I just want to point out, you guys, what you're about to witness is a full-fledged lie. Here we go.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it didn't seem to explicitly describe the nature of Dr. Kennard's meeting with Dr. O'Connor. So can you say whether that one meeting was related to care for the president himself?
I can say that it was not.
It was not. Okay, great. And can I just ask why that information that was released last night just wasn't said at the briefing yesterday?
Well, no. Actually, a lot of what is in the letter was said at the briefing, to be very, very clear. I said many of the things that were laid out in the letter was actually repeated right here behind this lectern at this podium yesterday. It was what
said that.
Hold on. I said many of the things, and we got clarification, obviously, from Dr. O'Connor, but it was in line with what I said. When I said only 3, right? I said only 3 visits that this particular doctor had. I said a neurologist. What I was not able to confirm is the name, and the reason why is because we do not share private information. That is something that we respect, and we wanted to make sure that we protected our consultants here that work with the White House Medical Unit, their security as well.
You're not protecting anybody, Karine. It was public information. So, folks, Karine Jean-Pierre issued a late-night correction admitting it was, in fact, related to Biden's health. Oh, gosh. Man, doesn't that sound like a lot like we heard from Ed O'Keefe, where the chaos erupted in the White House press briefing over the fact that she doesn't sit there and be transparent about things, and then she has to come back and bring corrections? We're not going to watch the whole thing, but here's the issue, and she's playing it off like there was no issue about corrections. So this is not yesterday's White House press briefing. This is the one that happened a few days ago where, like, bleep hit the fan about the idea of she's not being transparent, and then she has to come back out later at some point or another and correct what was said prior. Here we go.
Or at least once, in regards to the president specifically.
Hold on a second.
Not what you should be able to answer by this point.
Wait, no. No, wait a minute. Ed, please. A little respect here, please. So every year, around the president's physical examination, he sees a neurologist. That's 3 times, right? So I am telling you that he has seen a neurologist 3 times while he has been in this presidency. That's what I'm saying. I am telling you that he has seen them 3 times. That is what I'm sharing with you, right? So every time he has a physical, he has had to see a neurologist. So that is answering that question.
No, it's not.
No, it is. It is. You're
Dr.
asking
Kevin
me.
Kennard, come to the White House
But I also said to you, Ed, I also said to you, for security reasons, we cannot share names. We cannot share names. We have to.
Others he would have met with.
We cannot.
You can share names in regards to if someone came here in regards to the president.
We cannot share names of specialists broadly, from a dermatologist to a neurologist. We cannot share names. There are security reasons. We have to protect. I understand that. I hear you.
Right there for anyone to see.
Ed, I hear you. I cannot from here confirm any of that because we have to keep their privacy. I think they would appreciate that too. We have to give them. We have to keep their privacy.
It is public information.
I hear you. Guys, hold on a second. There's no reason to go back and forth and be in this aggressive way.
Miffed around here about how information's been shared with the press corps about him.
What do you missed about? What do you missed about?
Everything he just asked about.
And then every time I come back and I answer the question that you guys asked.
Correctly, you didn't have to come back and clean it up.
I never answered the question incorrectly. That is not true.
There you go. You just heard him say you have to come back and clean it up and correct everything. It's a remarkable thing that you just saw this on the 8th. Today's the 10th. Press briefing from the 8th. Yesterday's press briefing was on the 9th. And this exact thing that you are seeing is what just happened. She had to correct it. She pretends like all this shit doesn't happen. And then we always even come out the next day going, yeah, it's a complete lie. It's hypocritical. Here's the receipts. We bring the receipts, folks. I mean, that is some research, is it not? Right there, showing you the proof, the hypocrisy. That's why you got to follow the Ball Brad Show, baby. That's why you got to give us that like and subscribe. That right there, proving somebody wrong in real time is a phenomenal thing to witness. So we also have that charity match, which again, that's not going to happen. So we covered that one. Let's get into a little bit of illegal immigration news, folks. That's one of our biggest things here on the show. We got a whistleblower. So the Department of Human Resources, Jesus, where am I at? Let me take a sip of coffee here real quick. Let's wake up a little bit, huh, Brad? Let's wake up, huh, Joey? Oh, this coffee is good, folks. If you're not drinking out of a Ball Brad Show mug, what are you doing? The Department of Human Services, there we go, has lost at least 85,000 children. Holy shit. I'm glad I wasn't having coffee in my mouth. I would have spit it out just there. You guys, they lost at least, this could be the lowest number, 85,000 children who crossed the border illegally as accompanied minors after placing them with sponsors who may be trafficking children into prostitution or forced labor. And there's AOC with her doctored photos. By the way, that's just an empty parking lot she's looking at. Do you guys remember that one? Remember when she sat there and she acted all psycho? Oh, they're drinking out of toilets. I can't believe it. First of all, even if they were drinking out of toilets, it's still the cleanest water you can get. Our sink water, our faucet water is the same water that goes in our toilets. We have the cleanest water in the entire world, AOC. And they weren't drinking from toilets. The fountain was attached to the top of the toilet. Don't give us this. We all know what you're doing, you manipulator. So whistleblowers assigned to process minors near the border said that children were being placed with people who clearly were not even their relatives. And when they were, there was evidence of abuse and trafficking, you guys. Yo, how is this not front page news? How is this not out there that Joe Biden has created 12 million new jobs? It's just for other people in other countries like the cartel, like these sex traffickers, like these child traffickers. Democrats want 4 more years of this, you guys. This alone is enough not to vote for the guy. Folks, this is on top of the people that they already lost years ago. Joe has lost hundreds of thousands of children under his watch. Oh, dude, this is insane shit. I saved this, by the way. You're getting a real-time reaction. I have not read this. One whistleblower assigned to process minors near the border said that after a group alerted supervisors to the fact that children were being placed with people who clearly were not their relatives and that there were evidence of sadistic abuse, the Biden administration's DHS Office of Refugee Resettlement took her off the job and retaliated against her instead of acting on the facts they had uncovered. Gonna lose it. We're gonna go crazy here. The Biden administration apparently shoveled children out of their homes. Wow, yeah, it does say shovel. Yeah, it does say shovel. I was like, what the hell? Out of their homes of poorly vetted volunteers as fast as it could avoid holding them in secure facilities. Joe Biden had painted those as his rival Donald Trump putting kids in cages and wanted to avoid those optics at all costs. This comes from Senator Chuck Grassley. Biden's alternative, as detailed by government employees tasked with personally interacting with those children, was far less humane. It's a huge number. Took my breath away. 500,000 children were flown or bused to homes of people who were sometimes strangers. The Biden administration loosened rules on background checks. DHS's oversight amounted to a single phone call to the children 30 days later. By that time, many of the children could not be reached. They were simply missing. Oh, that's good. No, nice job, Joe, you fucking idiot. Look, that one deserved a cuss, you guys. Okay, I'm just saying. You're ripping people from their families' arms. How could you, Donald? How could this guy, when COVID-19 was happening, meaning Joe Biden, stuff these pods full of people that couldn't be in the same capacity of which the CDC allowed it? What I mean by that is during COVID, the height of it, these people had COVID and they were stuffing them in pods that was only supposed to hold like 300 people. And they were putting like 400 people in these pods. They were jammed in there like sardines. We saw the photos early on. It was so bad that they had to ask the CDC during the height of COVID. Remember, this was killing people, you guys. It was like the Black Plague all over again. You had like a 99% chance of dying if you caught it, right? According to Democrats. Obviously, I'm misleading those numbers a little bit. We're having a little bit of a joke, but you understand what I'm saying. They asked the CDC to increase the pod capacity to 100% because they were already at 100%. And they were breaking the law. In the same way here, this shit's happening. You have fentanyl killing hundreds of thousands of Americans every year pouring across the border. It's coming from China. It's coming from South America. It's coming from all over the places. You have MS-13 violent gang members raping your children left and right all over the country. Isn't this just a lovely thing that Joe Biden's allowing to happen? And Democrats are going to vote for it, folks. They love the crime. I've said this for years. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. If you don't like crime, why are you voting Democrat? If you don't like all these murders like you just saw happening in Chicago over 4th of July weekend where hundreds of people were shot or killed, why are you voting for it? If you don't like the smash and grabs, why'd you vote in Prop 47? Why are you voting for Gavin Newsom? If you don't like all the homeless shitting on your doorstep, doing needles in front of your children while they're walking to school, why are you voting Democrat? If you don't like all this illegal immigration happening where clearly, I mean, right here's a whistleblower saying children are being sex trafficked. They're being sold off as slaves other places. Why are you voting Democrat? If you don't like all these foreign wars, why are you voting Democrat? If you don't want to see your taxes increase, even Joe Biden saying he's not going to do so, which he is, I'm telling you right now, he's going to. All the deductions disappear. The Trump tax cuts, which saved you on average 3%, is disappearing. Good luck with that one if you vote for Joe for another 4 years. They're going to vote for him for another 4 years. Folks, these people, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to rationalize to them. I don't know if somehow this whole media apparatus and narrative saying that we're extremists, we're a threat to democracy is what's influencing them. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not even saying Donald Trump's the best candidate out there. I'm not even saying he's the best person out there. Right now, between him and Joe Biden, Donald Trump is the best. By far. Joe is not. Joe is by far. He's allowing this stuff to happen, and he's going to continue to allow it to happen because he sucks. He sucks. And finally, to give you an update on all this illegals voting, because it is happening. Democrats are telling you it's not. If you're not over at Locals, we did talk about the SAVE Act. I write articles and opinion pieces on my Locals, so make sure you hit that link and follow me over there. And by the way, I think there was some confusion. Can we clear this up since I brought up Locals? I think a lot of you thought that I was streaming over at Locals because we looked at the ad yesterday. Locals has an ad that's sometimes at the bottom of my videos, and it says streaming now. It's actually there right now. So let me actually bring this up here for you. I want you guys to see this. I think there was some confusion. Right here, you see how the Locals ad says streaming now? I think people are seeing this. This streaming now is for Rumble. I'm streaming now on Rumble. I'm not streaming on Locals. So I think maybe there was some confusion there. You could stream on Locals, but I don't as of right now. I mean, we can figure that out later, but I just want to let you guys know right now I'm using Locals as an opinion articles that nobody else gets to see really, and you get to comment, stuff like that. So make sure you follow us over there. We will in the future do a lot more stuff on Locals. We're trying to build a community right now. So we will do a lot more stuff where if you're a member on Locals or on YouTube and you pay your money every month, we want to do more things where we're just going live for members, and we'll definitely do that. So some good news here. You have red state governor cracks down on illegals voting with executive order. So finally somebody stepping up to the plate, and it's the Idaho, the potato state. Brad Little on Tuesday signed an executive order called the Only Citizens Will Vote Act to ensure illegals and non-citizens cannot vote in elections. Now, this is all fine and dandy, but it's happening in red states. We need it to happen in the blue states, Democrats. We need you to do this. Mind you, it is already illegal to vote illegally, but they're still doing it. We just showed yesterday while we're waiting for the White House press secretary to show up to her home meeting for that hour and 45 minutes. We showed Texas. We showed Texas voter registration that it doesn't require you to show proof of citizenship or really even be a citizen. We showed the day prior, while we were also waiting for the psycho to show up to her own meeting on time, jean-pierre, we showed California's voter registration, where you don't even need to show proof of insurance. All it said on there was you may need to show proof of residency and you may need to show proof of citizenship. Yeah, sure. And there was a great thing we showed yesterday as well, the fact of, hey, maybe illegals aren't even voting. The mere fact that they're just on the rolls or they have their name is that they could print off a ballot, send it to some nameless, faceless person that we can't name here, have them fill out the ballot on behalf of the illegal immigrant, and then ballot harvest and just turn all this balloting into the ballot box. We showed a clip yesterday in real time while we were waiting again for the psycho of CNN catching a lady throwing tons of ballots into the ballot box. By executive order, the Only Citizens Will Vote Act directs Secretary of State Phil McGrain to work with local county clerks to scrub our voter rolls and make sure Idaho's elections do not fall prey to the consequences of Biden's lawless open border. Across Idaho's 44 counties, we have excellent mechanisms in place to already ensure, non-citizens do not vote in Idaho. Look, we don't need that necessarily just in red states. We need it in the blue states. The blue cities, that's predominantly where it's going to happen. Furthermore, another thing about illegal immigration, California mayor blasts plan to help migrants buy houses. So let's break this down just really quickly. So you have the mayor of Cajon has criticized a program that helps buy their first houses, including migrants. Now, I bring this up because we had a little bit of pushback on me going, well, Brad, you're saying illegal immigrants and migrants are buying these houses and it's fluctuating the prices of properties and it's creating more of a demand, which causes the price to go up. I don't really believe it. So what are we bringing you? Yeah, the receipts. That is correct. Here we go. Loans offered under the program do not accrue interest and do not need to be repaid in monthly installments. Instead, borrowers repay the original amount of the loan, along with 20% of the increase in the home's value when it is sold or the mortgage is refinanced. This bill does not exclude undocumented migrants. What do we bring you, folks? What do we bring you? The receipts. Folks, I don't just pull shit out of my ass. I don't mean to cuss, but all we do here, I don't even really give you my opinion all that much. I just call out the hypocrisy and go, yeah, there's this article that came out. Illegal immigrants are increasing the demand of home buyers here in different states. People can't buy homes. Why? Because you're competing with the world. You're competing on a global level now because Joe Biden is allowing 10, 15 million people to pour across the border on top of the 25 million that are already here. Folks, you are competing against half the states in terms of population. Think about the drop in demand that would happen if you didn't have 30 million people also looking for homes, adults. Oh, well, I'm just not so sure that's actually happening, Brad. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, some people just aren't with us, folks. They're not with us. You're seeing it here. I've also called out the fact that when you have these illegal immigrants coming in, it's not just creating a supply and demand problem for us here domestically. It's also affecting their home country. Inflation is going through the roof in other countries because they're making so much money here and they're sending it back that it's causing the price of homes in other countries to go up. We covered that like a year and a half ago. The fact that this is news to anybody is a remarkable thing. I understand some people live under a rock, but holy lordy. Brad, how can I email you the voter registration requirements for Arizona? thebaldbradshow@gmail.com. Again, thebaldbradshow@gmail.com. I love how everybody's checking out their own registration forms now for their state. Cheers to you, Sunset. I love that you're looking into it. I love that we have that, right? She's saying she's shocked and horrified. I'm sure you are. I'm glad that we're all seeing this. Thank you, Secret Agent. Yes, thebaldbradshow@gmail.com. You guys, if you want to see me, I don't know if you want to see me. What the hell am I talking about? If you want to email me, do so. I do read them. It's not like I'm dodging them. We get a lot of emails, but would love for you to, whatever you want, send me. Some people send me video clips. I know Jerry sends me a lot of video clips. Jerry's been a long time viewer of the Bald Brad Show. So let's transition to yesterday's White House press briefing just really quick, because this was kind of like the main thing that happened, and it had to revolve around Peter Doocy asking Karine Jean-Pierre about Joe Biden's whole sleeping schedule and kind of, hey, what happens after 8 p.m. if, say, a nuke is going off? Like, what goes on?
Well, he also said he's sharpest before 8 p.m. So, say that the Pentagon at some point picks up an incoming nuke. It's 11 p.m. Who do you call? The First Lady?
He has a team that lets him know of any news that is pertinent and important to the American people. He has someone, or that is decided obviously with his National Security Council, on who gets to tell him that news.
Well,
oh, that's a real. She couldn't even look at him or the camera and giving that answer. You guys, they have a tough time getting this guy out of bed, folks. I'm in some cases when he naps, I feel pretty comfortable saying this dude naps in a suit and just unstrap his CPAP, just boom, and just try to carry him out, right? Carry him out of bed. Come on, Joey. His legs dangling. Just, come on, buddy. We got to get you out there. Read from a teleprompter. Here you go. Good, Joey. Good, Joey. Holy lordy. Unbelievable stuff. We have this article here. Ben Shapiro will be in Congress today talking about this very thing. And it talks about GARM, and they're being exposed right now. This is really important because they're suppressing and trying to basically dismantle conservative media. Check this out. This is wild, you guys. It gives a little bit of credibility on what YouTube is doing here to our channel. As I've mentioned, you guys see it, 62,000 subscribers. I've never bought a subscriber. I've never bought a like. I've never bought a comment. I pay for advertising, which is legitimate. You pay Google for advertising that will run your videos and send it out there to new viewers, basically force it to do so. You got to pay them to actually do their damn job. Never done any of that. So we get anywhere from 50 to 100 people on YouTube watching live, right? Rumble, I have, well, we'll even go with last week. Last week we had 300 followers. We're up to over 600 now. Follow us on Rumble. We're trying to get to 1,000. We had 300. You guys, last week we had 100 plus subscribers, 100 plus viewers on the live. There was moments in time that we had more people watching live on Rumble than we did on YouTube. How does that make any sense whatsoever? Like, what? So our videos over at Rumble, folks, are doing better than our videos over at YouTube, and we have 600 followers. We have 614 followers. I'm looking at it live right now. 614 more views than 62,000. But YouTube isn't pulling any bullshit. No. They're not doing anything weird. It's all make believe, you guys. We're just blowing smoke. It's all not real. A congressional investigation has uncovered overt political bias in the leadership of an advertising coalition that has been used to control online speech. Here we go. Buckle up, man, because I'm reading this whole article. Released on Wednesday ahead of a hearing on whether advertisers are violating federal competition laws. I fully do think they are. The report on the Global Alliance of Responsible Media, or GARM, accuses the group of attempting to influence what content appears online by starving disfavored content. Weird. God. Sounds a lot like Rumble, who is favoring free speech, allows conservative thought and ideas to get out to people. Makes sense how 600 people, you would get 100 plus people watching live on that, because that actually conversion rate makes sense. Versus YouTube, 62,000, and we have about 50 people watching live of the freaking Patriots, which I love. Really weird. Really weird. Internal emails obtained by the committee found that GARM's leadership strategized how to use the coalition against news outlets, including the Daily Wire and others, with opposing views from its leadership. Folks, it's not like they're pulling this out of there. You know what? They have the receipts. They have emails. They have text messages and stuff. GARM and its members discussed a strategy of blocking certain news outlets like Fox News, the Daily Wire, Breitbart, pointing to an email from a top executive associated with the coalition stating he had hated their ideology and bullshit. It goes a lot further, folks. One of the lead organizations in the coalition, Group M, the world's largest media buying agency, admits its emails that the Daily Wire is, quote, on our global high-risk exclusion list, categorized as conspiracy theories. Daily Wire editor emeritus Ben Shapiro will testify today. I might go live for that. Talking about this whole thing, where he's described it as a part of a network of global elites who have created a universal framework full of guidelines and ratings designed to enforce approved narratives and punish disapproved ones. It's very similar to what they're doing with these social, environmental, and governance scores, where if you don't follow the line, if you don't say exactly what the elites want, if you don't say exactly what the Democrat Party wants, you are banished. You are silenced. And you know what? Google, I think, is a part of that. I think Google, look what Twitter did before Elon bought it. They suppressed conservatives. We know this for a fact. Folks, YouTube's done it. Dan Bongino's not on YouTube for a reason. We love Dan here. Dan is not on YouTube for a reason, because they banned him. Alex Jones, say what you will. Look what they're doing to that guy. They don't want conservative thought out there, and that's why we always ask for hitting that like button, leaving us a comment, because that's what helps. It does help, believe it or not, because they can only fight against us so much, and we're not going anywhere. Unless they, draft up some bullshit. They try to push some like BS media thing, using AI or something, come up with some fake story, right? I fully believe that. I think they come up with fake stories about conservatives and influencers to try to push them out. They push the narrative, oh, this happened, that happened. No. Everybody has their flaws. Everybody has their sins. The question is that when things happen, like we saw with that guy's sketch, when things happen, will the community rally behind those people? And I know I kind of went off on a tangent there, but that there's a Twitch streamer sketch that some stuff came out about him, and his community rallied behind him and absolutely loved that, because who cares? The guy made some mistakes in his past. It happens. And if we're going to claim to be Christians and Catholics and all these things, you got to forgive. And it's not that big of a deal. We all got our issues. So this is coming out, and we'll see what comes of it. But they're strategizing. Look at this. The report exposes the political bias of a GARM leader and co-founder who in one email complains about people advocating for freedom of speech online. Isn't that what we do here? An extreme global interpretation of the U.S. Constitution. Because it was written by white men exclusively. Oh, the same white men that wanted freaking the freedom of slaves, you idiot. The same white people later on that actually fought and died and gave up their lives to free slaves, you idiot. It throws me, it really does throw me for a loop that people are like, oh, these white people are so terrible. Look what they're doing. It's unbelievable stuff, folks. So I wanted to bring that with you. Ben Shapiro will be in Congress today with Jim Jordan exposing GARM, and we'll see what comes of it. They don't really have a backbone when it comes to the Republican Party of doing anything about it, but that's what's going on, folks. We do think it's happening to us, but with your support and your help, folks, we will prevail. We're not going anywhere. Will I be live later today? Honestly, I don't know. We will see what happens. But always support us, folks. We have a website. We have merchandise. We got a book. We got memberships, all that fun stuff. Don't feel like you have to. Again, I just announced that because some people don't know it's there. But hey, Brad, Biden is on ABC now. Really? Oh, okay. Let's look at that. Let's look at that. Don't feel like you guys have to give your hard-earned money. It's just there for those that want to. I plug it because some people are asking. That's all. Biden is live. Let's go check this out.
CIO headquarters event touting his accomplishments on the economy. Jay, the president is under a microscope today. He's speaking at this event now, but he's also hosting the NATO summit a little later today. What stood out to you from his remarks here, and how high are the stakes for him today?
Very high. Two things to take away here, Diane. I don't see teleprompters there. The president has been pushed by Democratic allies here on Capitol Hill and voters to do more unscripted, off-teleprompter events. It appears that he's doing one now. Also, we have some breaking news in terms of people pushing President Biden to step aside. George Clooney, the actor, just penned an op-ed in the New York Times that said he was at a fundraiser with President Biden, and he was, quote, the same man we all witnessed at the debate. George Clooney is now pushing President Biden to also step aside and not be the nominee.
Wow, those calls growing. Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill for us. Jay, thank you.
Wow, isn't that remarkable? George Clooney. You know what? I didn't know where that was going to go, but hey, you know what? That's damaging. Holy crap. Yeah, it's the same guy you saw on the debate stage. He's loony. He's not there with us. Folks, that's Hollywood, by the way. Those people are hardcore lefties. Are you sure he's alive? I'm not so sure myself. Well, folks, that is today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, one thing you guys should check out while we are still around today, you saw what's going on with the economy. Let's do a little bit of an ad read. This is one that I have seen a lot on the Daily Wire. They're sponsoring today. That is Birch Gold. Most people with an IRA or 401k have no clue that in 2024, the greatest threat to their financial security is, in fact, the market volatility, especially going into this upcoming election, but also what's going on with inflation. So it's talking specifically about the digital dollar. And what's new now is the Fed Now program. The government will have more control than ever before over our money. Many experts predict it's possible that under the digital dollar, people may have access to their money switched off. We've seen that. That's just a text print that you're seeing on your bank account. You saw this with Credit Suisse, how money was just disappearing. You saw it with other banks. So they can literally just switch off the button where you can't even get your money. So with Fed Now allowing for complete digital surveillance of our transactions, every transaction, we could see a future where we must comply with the government simply just to keep our money. Something as small as having the wrong political beliefs voiced online could be enough to switch that bad boy off. As scary as this sounds, there is a solution to all of this, and safeguarding your retirement savings and continuing to trend upward, offering great returns. See what this solution is now and learn to protect your retirement savings. Tap the link below for Birch Gold, folks. You want to check that out. You want to make sure your portfolio is diversified, especially when this upcoming election is happening on. You want to make sure you're secure and safe for your family. Check out Birch Gold. Read what they have over there. Highly recommend it. But also check out the other ideas that they have to offer. It's really informative. Appreciate you, folks. We will be back here tomorrow, or maybe even later today. We will see, but for sure tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another episode of The Ball Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.